Hi everyone. I almost feel like I need to make an apology for not posting. Um, there's a lot of things happening around the house and in Sicily in general. Obviously, the weather's warming up and I've been to the beach a few times. Um, and I'm getting caught up in the whole social thing. So there's lots of invites coming in from people. And I'm having to learn how to say no to a lot of people, just to protect my peace and my time. What I'm finding is that if you give Sicilians an inch, they'll take a mile. So you might get invited to a lovely dinner and you'll thank them on the way out. And they will quickly say, so we'll do another one. And in a few weeks, yeah, I'll give you a call and we might, follow up and have a catch up, another dinner. But in the meantime, let's just take it easy. We don't need to see each other 2 to 3 times a week. So getting used to that in the Sicilian culture, coming from Australia, has been a big lesson for me. So learning how to say no and not being afraid that I'll never be invited again. Anyway, so the house has sort of settled down. A lot of the works have settled down now, and I'm now looking at objects that I can focus on around the house, and I'll show you one that I would like to start. What do you know? June in Sicily, sorry, almost July, and stinking hot Italian summer. And what have I decided to do? Stay indoors and get this, scrape these lower walls back of any flaky plaster and paint. As you know, there's the rising damp issue here in Italy. So I'm going to scrape some of this back. You can't see it on camera, but it's not the best condition. But, and then I'm going to apply some of this. Now you mix this with some water and you paint it on before you actually put the paint color on. And it's supposed to stop the paint or the future paint from flaking. So let's give this a go and just see what comes off the wall. Let's just have a look at that. And that's from one scrape. And that's an Italian wall, typical of most homes in the area. No damp-proof coursing. So I'm going to keep going with that. And then just clean all this up and start applying some of that primer. Wow, big chunks. Now, part of me is tempted to punch a hole in that wall because I kind of feel like there's going to be some sort of little niche, which was very common in these old houses. I imagine these walls once upon a time were stone walls on the inside of the house, and they had little niches for storage or candles for lighting and things like that. So when I hear an empty wall like that, I kind of think, do I open it, or do I leave it, paint over it, and forget that I ever tapped on it? I don't know. I'm trying really, really hard to resist the urge to call a painter and just do the whole house within 3 or 4 days. It's really hard to get motivated to paint the house. Maybe because it's hot, I don't know. Maybe because it's a little bit overwhelming for one person. I'm not sure. I would certainly save a lot more money if I did it myself. But I've painted a lot of houses in my life, and for some reason this tiny little house, I'm just afraid that there's more work underneath this paint that's here than I expect. I think a lot of procrastination comes into it because I'm having to make all the decisions on my own. Um, yeah, I don't really have anyone who's wants to hear about flaking walls. So um, perhaps it's a reflection of my mind at the moment, and I just can't make a solid decision. So I will distract myself with something else. Just on other topics, just in case this airs before part 2 of the grotto that I'm making in the courtyard. It's because I've been shopping for statues and things like that, and to be honest, nothing has really, and the mosquitoes have started, nothing has really grabbed my attention in terms of what kind of statue I would want to put out there. So, which is not a bad thing, because now I'm going back to this thing up here in my head, the brain, and trying to get a bit more creative as to what I can actually put in there. So I might air some different episodes in between then, because a lot of people are asking for part 2 of the grotto. So don't wait. The wait won't be too long. I'll release that pretty soon. The other big hesitation about calling in a painter in the house is I just know they're going to turn it upside down. And just when I've started to feel comfortable in the house and sort of make it a home and keep it tidy, I just don't know if I can go through another overhaul with builders and painters and whatnot in the house, making a crap load of dust. Do I do it myself and keep it controlled, or do I bring someone in and just let them unleash mayhem? I don't know. Also, I shouldn't be complaining about the heat. I just came back from a 4-day trip in Milan and Lake Maggiore. And if you want to talk about heat, it is disgustingly humid in Milan, and the mosquitoes have no mercy, let me tell you. However, on a good note, the lake is very warm and great for a swim any time of the day. The water is so beautiful, so fresh. It feels like silk on your body. So I was swimming every day. It was lovely. But just there's no air, there's no wind, it's very humid. So that's the difference between Sicily and Milan. There's a bit of air flowing around Sicily. Uh, yeah, I just didn't expect that on the lake, considering we're so close to Switzerland and there's mountain tops, and I mean the lake is massive. Um, but yeah, I kind of was relieved coming back to Sicily, even though it's still hot here, but it's tolerable. The other thing in Sicily is you do 5 minutes of work and you take a break. So look what's back in season. So I bought some the other day. This is a peach. Excuse me. Watermelon, cherries, apricots, bananas are going out. It's just too hot for bananas. So yeah, landed myself a peach. Pretty good. Yeah, one thing I love about Sicily. Good food, good tasting food. Whereas, say for example, in Milan, the local shopping centre was packed with people. And the little fruit guy on the side of the road was just, there was hardly anyone around the local fruit guy. Complete opposite in Sicily. So it just goes to show city life versus country life is real, and maybe, yeah, access to some good food, access to farms, nearby farms and things like that is a hell of a lot easier in Sicily than it is in Milan. So, and price-wise, it's literally double the price in Milan than it is in Sicily. So keep that in mind if you want to move to Italy. It's a lot cheaper in the country. In other news, the kitchen behind me, which you can see is half baked. So having difficulty with the kitchen contractor, who's just not showing up. And when he does, he's just making one mistake after another. So, a dud contractor. What do you know? A dud contractor in Sicily. Am I the first person to go through that? I don't think so. But I didn't expect it to happen for such a small little kitchen like that. So, I will provide an update on that in some upcoming episodes as well. But sadly, it's a 7-month saga for a tiny under the stair kitchen. Okay. Now, I anticipated doing some patchwork when I got to the house. So, I actually brought this from Australia. No more gaps. And I'm just going to patch a section here that's just a lot of the plaster's come away and just left this gap between the marble step and the wall. So I'm just going to patch it with this before I can apply some of that primer paint. So let's see if this works. And there is the definition of no more gaps. Right, whilst that no more gaps is drying on that wall there, I'm going to keep going on this step here underneath the front door and just start taking away some of that flaking paint as well. See that falling off? I don't want to scrape it too hard because I'm going to probably take off more than I want to. So just the initial flaking paint that's coming off, I think, is enough. You hear that? That's not a knock at the front door. It's hollow plaster. And I'm just trying to understand a wall that's 600 mil thick of stone has hollow plaster over the top of it. Now my question is, do I start digging away and exposing all this? Or do I pretend everything's fine and just paint over it, and hopefully the paint holds it together for the next 20 years. So this is 1 part primer, 1 part water. So I'm just going to mix those two together. How does this work? Okay, very watery, but let's have a look. Okay, so just going to apply that to that area that I scraped earlier, and yeah, I have no way of really proving if this is going to work other than the fact that the wall should stop flaking. Very watery, clear. It's hard to see other than me wetting the wall. Wow. Okay. It runs straight down the wall because it's basically water, or it comes out of the brush. So I feel like I'm wasting a bit of it, but I'll keep going. Okay, that's 1 coat done. I think it dries fairly quickly because it absorbs into the wall, or the wall is absorbing it very quickly, so it's obviously really, really dry, which is a good sign. But I'm going to stop and have a quick coffee, and then I'm going to keep going with under the front door. So I've pretty much put undercoat throughout the whole ground floor. And some of the walls I've found, listen to this, somewhat normal. That's not normal. But at the end of the day, good news, folks, it actually worked and the walls have stopped flaking. They're ready to be painted and patched. And yeah, no more flaking on the walls under the stair there, all scraped back and primered. And yes, it's working.